Okay, so I'm back, and so is Donald Trump, who just announced his candidacy for the 2024 presidential race. This comes a week after the 2022 midterms, which did not go well for him. Did not go well for any of his candidates that he endorsed. A lot of them uh, lost their races. Carrie Lake, the uh, candidate for Arizona governor, just lost, and she is denying her loss the same way Trump denied his. Um, and that's funny to see that go down. It's something that not even Doug Mastriano did, who lost his race for Pennsylvania governor. He conceded, even though he's a far right guy he's an election denier himself. Speaking of Pennsylvania, Dr. Oz lost, and it seems like Herschel Walker will lose as well. So these candidates were not only handpicked by Donald Trump himself and campaigned with Trump, they are very Trump-like in a very like unique way. Like especially Herschel Walker is like stupid in a way that like only Trump can stand up to, like can be compared to. Yeah, Herschel Walker has the same like dumb, like arrogant charisma that Trump has. Like he can like barely string together a sentence, and even when he does, it's like it's like nonsense. He just rambles on. There's all these run-on sentences that just don't go anywhere. But like that is appealing to a lot of dumb guys in America. There are so many dumb guys in America who, when they see someone like Trump or Herschel Walker on the big stage, on TV, they're like, yo, that guy's just like me. He's just like me for real, bro. He's just as dumb as I am, and he's successful, so I gotta support him. Because he's representing me, finally a dumb guy. Some dumb guy representation in government. Likewise, Dr. Oz is not dumb exactly. He's not like, he has some intelligence. He's like average intelligence, I'd say, but he's like a TV personality in the same way Trump was. He's like, he appeals to like sort of the same crowd, like, you know, like middle-aged suburban moms who just sit at home all day like watching TV. Or Dr. Phil, that's the guy. Yeah. All these fake doctors. Really, these people, their skill is in branding, right? Their skill is marketing themselves as like some authority on medicine, like Oz or Phil. Trump was marketing himself as a billionaire. It was more like his image as a billionaire that he sold that actually made him rich, more than actually him being rich. So, and these are just examples of Trump candidates who did not do well at all in these midterms. Apparently, every candidate that was an election denier, that was pushing this stolen election lie about the 2020 election, and these ideas that the voting system is rigged in favor of Democrats, all those people, they lost their races. So yeah, being anti-democracy, spreading like conspiracy theories about voting machines and elections being stolen, that does not play well at all. It even might have put off a lot of independents or like moderate Republicans who would vote Republican normally, but didn't this time because they were just so put off by like all this shit. They either stayed home or they drove negative voter turnout against them. So yeah, all of this means that Trump is at his lowest point politically in a long time, ever since like probably even lower than like at right after his presidency ended, because he's really not been in the spotlight a lot. He's been on the news a lot. He's been doing more campaign things, but he really has fallen off, and he just doesn't have that same kind of energy he had in 2020 or even like 2016. That was the peak, right? 2017. Yeah. So it seems like he was planning on announcing his candidacy right now anyways, and he's not going to let like anything ruin his moment, right? Because he's like an egotist narcissist, and he's got to have his moment right in the spotlight, and he's not going to let anything ruin that. But it does seem kind of desperate. It does seem like he's trying to hold on to power. He's trying to like grasp onto like any little bit that he can hold on to. And now a lot of people in the Republican Party are seeing the same things. They are seeing that like, oh, Trump is not a viable candidate. Like his brand of politics is just so toxic and so like off-putting to like the independents and the moderate Americans out there, the voters, that he's not going to do a good job if he runs. He's going to cause more losses. He caused big losses in 2018 when the House flipped to Democrats. Then, of course, he lost big in 2020. And then everyone thought the Republicans were going to do really well in these midterms, these 2022 midterms, but they didn't. And there's multiple reasons for that, right? The overturning Roe v. Wade, like the student debt cancellation that just got canceled in turn. But a lot of it was like Donald Trump and his crazy supporters and his endorsed allies and candidates that were running, that were keeping the flame of the craziness alive, and like keeping people scared, and like keeping like Trumpism in the news, right? So people want to move on from Trump. Even a lot of Republicans do, and they're turning to Ron DeSantis, who is the new frontrunner now. Especially like after these midterms, people want to move on from Trump. Republicans don't want him, and so Ron DeSantis was like the big victor in the 22 midterms, right? He was the only governor that won like by a pretty handy margin in a battleground state, or Florida's supposed to be a battleground state, right? So people are going to Ron DeSantis now, and we can see in here he won by 59.4%, which is honestly not that great. I mean, it's pretty good, of course. It's a pretty sizable margin, especially like now in America, where like we're so like polarized. It's like, and it's like, it seems like so many races are like evenly matched. Like the Republicans and Democrats are just like tipped on a razor's edge, and they're just barely balanced. Like especially in the Senate, it's literally 50-50 split, although it might be a 51-49 split soon. We'll see how that runoff goes. It's looking pretty good. But even in those races, like, I mean, it was close enough to trigger a runoff. I think it was like within like a 2-point margin, including for Oz and Fetterman. Carrie Lake lost by like 20,000 votes or something. It was a pretty small margin as well. So 59% is a pretty big margin, but again, like 40% for Charlie Crist, the Democrat, is still a pretty big chunk. As we can see, like most of the state is red, but these blue pockets are where most of the population lives. Tallahassee is very blue. I don't know much about Tallahassee. That's interesting. But anyways, is this Miami? What's this? Yeah, and then Orlando is very blue. Okay, but so Ron DeSantis came out as like the clear victor in these midterms. Oh, can we look at the whole thing? Nice. So people are turning to him as the front runner now, and that might be Donald Trump's goal in announcing his candidacy right now, is to steal Ron DeSantis' thunder, right? He wants to be back in the spotlight because Trump is the guy. who has to be the center of attention all the time. He's a narcissist. He's an egotist. This is nothing new. He has got to have all the attention, and he's jealous of Ron DeSantis. That's why he's trying out new nicknames like Ron DeSanctimonious. Yeah, so let's see. Trump announces a presidential bid. He is
announcing my candidacy for president.
My candidacy for presidency.
Our country is in a horrible state. We're in great
Horrible
trouble.
state.
This is not a task for a politician or a conventional candidate. This
Oh,
is
it's
a
not?
task for a great movement that embodies the courage, confidence, and the spirit of the American people. This will
The
not
spirit.
be my campaign. This will be our campaign altogether.
Our campaign all together. Yeah, just like last time, huh? Yeah, yeah, again, it's very vague. It's like, oh, our country is not doing well. And yeah, America has a lot of problems right now, but again, like, he never provides any solutions for these. Like, that's the thing with these Republicans. They say, oh, Biden's doing such a terrible job. Look at all this inflation, the high gas prices, but they don't have a solution. You think they have a solution? No, they don't. They're just trying to like pin things on the opposing party, which is nothing new in politics, right? This always happens, but it's kind of lazy. They're not even trying to make the case anymore. Like, why is it his fault? They're saying like, oh, all these spending packages that Biden did are causing inflation. But honestly, there are so many spending packages done under Trump, right? There are like $5 trillion in coronavirus spending, and that's causing inflation. And then, anyways, and of course, inflation is also being caused by like worldwide trends in the economic recovery from the pandemic, right? There was so much disruption in the global supply chains that like getting everything going again is going to be like sputtering and slow moving, and there's going to be issues, but yeah, but of course all these things are being blamed on Biden, and of course the high gas prices is totally like the fault of Russia invading Ukraine more than anything, and them forcing the rest of the world to like annex Russian oil and gas. But of course they're blaming all of that on Biden. Yeah, historically high gas prices in America are not good for the incumbent party, but hey, Democrats did surprisingly well, so maybe those attacks did not work. They did not really stick. Yeah, anyway, it's a lot of like vague gesturing at like, oh, things are bad right now, we gotta solve things, we gotta bring back American greatness. So, like, things were so great under Trump. Honestly, Trump was handed a very good economy by Barack Obama, and yeah, he didn't. What did Donald Trump do for the economy, really? I mean, he cut taxes and regulations, which I'm sure he thinks that did a lot, but no, it did not. Of course, that would cause like a short-term gain, like a short-term boost in the economy, but that's sacrificing the long-term sustainability and stability of the economy. Because like once the COVID pandemic hit, then it's like, oh, we're still so much in debt because we cut taxes so much, but we didn't cut spending as much. So like we don't have any money to pay for anything. We're gonna have to print so much more money now. That's what really caused inflation. You remember the money pincher go brr memes at the beginning of the pandemic when like oh shit, we have to pump $2 trillion into the economy right now, or else like everything's gonna collapse. Like, how is that not the cause of inflation more than like anything Biden did? Anyways, some are saying his unusually early announcement is motivated in part by a calculation that a formal candidacy may help shield him from multiple investigations into his attempts to cling to power after his 2020 defeat, which led to the deadly mob attack by supporters on January 6th. We all know about that. Yeah, we don't have to get into that. That was bad. That was terrible. Unprecedented disaster in American democracy, etc. But yeah, these are multiple investigations, not just to his attempts to steal the 2020 election, but like many other investigations. We've seen he's under investigation, of course, for the document scandal. Yeah, he made this announcement from Mar-a-Lago, his residence and private resort. Yeah, I guess he just lives there now. Does he ever like go anywhere? I guess to do campaign stuff, but like he makes announcements from Mar-a-Lago now. And yeah, it's funny how he's making this big speech at the same place he hid secret documents for like 2 years for like no reason. And apparently many people are saying that he held on to these documents just out of his own pride and ego, just because he wanted to hold on to some mementos of his time in office. He wanted to feel important, and having these top secret, super important documents around him made him feel important. It's like, it's so pathetic. I mean, there's all these theories about, oh, he's selling this information, or he's giving this information to his political allies, like foreign adversaries. But honestly, Trump is such a petty bitch that I believe it. I believe that he's just holding on to this just cause like he wants to feel like he's still got something. Trump thinks he's a leviathan, but he's really a crash fish. Yeah, literally. Oh, have you been watching my my Subnautica streams? Yeah, he thinks he's a big scary reaper leviathan, but he's really just gonna, he's really scary, but he's just gonna blow up. He's just going to blow up and just like take the Republican Party with him. Yeah. So anyways, he's under investigation for the document scandal, and then he's also on the Trump Foundation, right? The Trump charity thing that he laundered money through, and like he overvalued his properties and undervalued them just to get like favorable business dealings. He inflated his assets by like billions of dollars, and apparently he's not very rich. He's not as rich as people thought he was. Yeah, Trump being a crash fish is a good analogy, because he's yeah, he's just this like bloated little creature that's just really mad. Like crash fish are like really mad all the time, and they just blow up. Anyways, so yeah, he hopes that a candidacy could give pause to prosecutors who may be considering criminal charges, because it will bolster his claims that multiple state and federal investigations he faces are politically motivated. Yeah, he's gonna say they're all coming after me because they're scared of me, because they know I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna take them down. You know, like they're not after me, they're really after you, and I'm just in the way. That was a big Trump meme, right? Yeah, that text was just like imposed on his smirking face. because now like he did do a lot of crimes, and like the inflating assets scandal is not even like a political scandal. That's the thing he's been doing like for years, apparently, for like decades, possibly, like before he became president. If he's running for office, he has more of a claim to say like, oh, they're coming after me because they see me as a threat. They're afraid that I'm gonna win again, and I'm gonna drain the swamp, right? I'm gonna take down all these swamp creatures who are after me. But no, it's all just a ruse. We will make America wealthy again, strong, proud, safe, glorious, and great again. Yeah, it's all this, just like, just really vague talk. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of like vague appeals to like, oh, we're gonna make America great again. We're going to, like, we're gonna bring America back to the good old days, which, yeah, it worked for him the first time. And yeah, that shit still appeals to his base, but like, again, it seems like Americans have grown tired of Trump's shtick. It got old pretty fast, and of course he barely won the first time. He won the Electoral College, not the popular vote, and now he can't even win the Electoral College, right? It's like all this vague shit, like, oh, America's bad right now, but I'm gonna make it good again. Yeah, nothing really concrete, nothing even like, oh, I'm gonna do this to make America great again. It's just like, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to make America great again by being the president, basically. Yeah, he's very rambling. It's a rambling hour-long address. He gave an exaggerated picture of his accomplishments before announcing his candidacy. Yeah, he's like, he blew up. Yeah, he like inflated all of the shit that he did during his presidency. Like, oh, we created the best economy ever, as if like cutting taxes in 2017 made the economy great. Yeah, quickly fell back into his typical rally fare, full of false statements, inflammatory discussion of immigration and crime. Now it's the right-wing culture war issues. Oh man, yeah, the culture war shit. Oh man, it's gonna be such a pain to deal with this shit for the next, who knows how long. Like, are we still gonna be talking about critical race theory in 2024? Who knows? Like, probably trans issues are still gonna be a thing. But honestly, I mean, Ron DeSantis did run on that a lot, but he won by like a pretty good margin. It's not an overwhelming victory, but 59% in this day and age is a pretty big win still. And yeah, DeSantis appealed a lot to like the culture war, like, bullshit. Yeah, immigration and crime are also big right-wing talking points. Yeah, of course, like any nationalist person is gonna be like very concerned with non-Americans coming into this country, especially non-white foreigners coming into this country, because like, let's be real, these people are at least a little bit racist. Like, just like, even if it's just like a subconscious bias against non-white people, they know, they're like, oh, these people don't look like us. It's that simple. And then crime again. Yeah, crime is kind of worse than it was like before 2020, but that's because like of the pandemic and then the economic turmoil that a lot of people are going through, right? That's another thing. And yeah, the right-wing solution to crime, which is like just fund police more, is not great. I mean, they'll say like, oh, the Democrats defunded the police, so we're going to refund the police. Well, I mean, the police are doing just fine. Anyway, he did not dwell on his 2020 election loss, though he called for elimination of all early voting, absentee voting, and electronic voting machines. Only paper ballots, he said. Only paper ballots, no early voting or absentee voting, because, of course, like, absentee ballots are so fraudulent. Yeah, it's all of this election bullshit. Yeah, he did not... Yeah, he is still, like, coping about his 2020 election loss. I mean, he didn't talk about it, but he did talk about, like, all this, he virtue signaled about all this, these conspiracies about, like, oh, the election was stolen by, like, these shady voting methods. Like, the idea of, like, early voting being a method of, like, election fraud is just so stupid. Like, how is early voting? How is early voting facilitating election fraud in any way? It's really just like making it harder to vote, right? Early voting is just like making it easier to vote, right? But Republicans don't want voting to be easy. They want voting to be hard, because the harder it is to vote, the less people vote, the better elections go for Republicans. This is nothing new, right? Everybody knows this. Yeah, only paper ballots. Honestly, having only paper ballots is also bad. Having no electronic voting machines. The reason you have electronic machines and paper ballots is so you can cross-reference them and check to see if your electronic results match up with the paper ballots that you have, right? If you only have one and you can't check against the other, then, like, how do you know if there's any discrepancy there? Honestly, paper ballots, having no, like, electronic record of things makes it really easy, right, to do election fraud, because, like, having paper ballots are so easy to get rid of. You can just, like, throw them out, you can burn them, or you can just, like, you can add new paper ballots and, like, nobody would know, right? Yeah, having only paper ballots, there's been election fraud in America before, but, like, having, like, electronic voting machines is, it's not like Russia or China is going to hack the voting machines and just change the results. Although, yeah, anyways, Trump repeatedly expressed grievance over the ongoing investigations into him and his family, denouncing the FBI search of his property to retrieve documents. "I'm a victim," Trump told the crowd bluntly. So these right-wing dudes, they just love to play the victim so much. Like, oh, like, CRT is teaching our kids that being white is evil, or feminists think that that a man makes you a bad person. And there are, like, toxic elements of the left, sure, but, like, the idea that, like, this is affecting anyone's life in any meaningful way is just like, yeah, it's a victim complex. Like when they talk about white genocide, what they really mean is, like, miscegenation. But they're okay with actual genocide of non-white people. Yeah, and Trump says, "I'm a victim." Honestly, like, playing the victim, especially in this circumstance, I don't know if it's gonna play off well. Especially, like, with the independent and moderate crowd. What do you think, you're gonna make people feel sorry for you? You think people are going to, like, think, like, the independent voters are going to be like, "Oh, that's right, Leia. yeah, the FBI is investigating Trump. They're being so mean to him. I better support him just to like stick it to the man, right? Just to, yeah. Yeah, so the former president's dominance of Republican politics led to 3 disappointing elections in a row for the party. But he still thinks that he is going to guide the party to victory. Yeah, he barely won in 2016, right? He lost the popular vote by a pretty big margin, by 3 million votes. And then, in 2018, Democrats took the House in 2020. Of course, that was a disaster for Republicans. Democrats took the Senate and held on to the House in 2020. And of course, in 22, it looks like Republicans are going to take the House, unfortunately. But Republicans did not do as well as they thought they would, right? So the idea that, and of course, yeah, Trump endorsed candidates lost big time. So the idea that like Trump is going to lead the party to the victory is just like so dumb. Again, yeah, Trump is an egotistical, like, narcissist man-child. So everything's got to be about him, right? Yeah, and he also wants to blunt the momentum gathering behind Ron DeSantis of Florida, whose runaway re-election victory last week astonished many inside the party. DeSantis was already the preferred presidential nominee among a sizable Republican number of Republicans who have tired of Trump's control, his continual controversies, and endless harping about 2020. Yeah, Trump fatigue had contributed to the 2020 defeat, and voters needed a break after the contentious 2022 election season. Yeah, a lot of voters were like tired of all the constant drama during the Trump administration. Like every week there was a new scandal, a new outrageous thing that he said or that he tweeted, right? A new thing to be like all up in arms about. So yeah, Trump was like a very appealing candidate because he was very charismatic and like out of the box, kind of like wacky, crazy, like wild card kind of character in 2016. But that shit got old real quick once he actually was the actual president, right? Yeah, Trump was anti-establishment, so he was like exciting. He was like, ooh, is this guy gonna like mix things up? Is he gonna like give us a chance? But no, Trump was anti-establishment because he's worse than the establishment, right? Yeah, at this point, like, Americans would prefer like an 80-year-old senator like Joe Biden, like a machine politician, a career politician, if there ever was one, over him. And yeah, there's been so much like controversy like in between then and 22, like all this Republican outrage over, first there was CRT and then it was gays and trans grooming the kids into being queer, and it's like all these crazy right-wing dudes are like shouting at people at parent-teacher conferences and like just like being so annoying, right? And that was the thing that put off a lot of moderates. It's like, oh, it used to be that like the left was the annoying faction of politics, like the SJWs, the blue-haired screeching feminists were like off-putting to like the average American. But now, like, it's the right wing who is like the more off-putting people. When was the last time like a crazy SJW like became a meme or like made the headlines? Like, I guess it's happened, but like it's been like crazy Trump candidates who have like claimed the mantle of craziness, right? So anyway, Trump's insistence on another campaign has set off a roiling debate among Republicans over whether the party can thrive with him as its leader, and probably not. And how, and if not, how it can effectuate a divorce. Well, this is not Trump's first divorce, right? He's been divorced 2 times now, or is it 3? Yeah, you know he's got some lawyers. He knows all the best divorce lawyers. This is not his first rodeo. This is not my first divorce. Believe me. Yeah. Yeah, and his handpicked candidates lost close races across the country. Yeah. In a race where, like, in the Georgia race where it was so close, they are having a runoff now, and Fetterman versus Dr. Oz was within like 2 points, right? Fetterman election results. Oh, he got 50. Oh, wow. Never mind. John Fetterman got 51% versus 46.5% for Mehmet Oz. Damn, that is a pretty big margin of victory, actually. Yeah, Dr. Oz, go back to New Jersey where you belong, bitch. Again, like, it's crazy how much of the state is red, but, like, of course, Philadelphia is, like, where all the people live. So anyway, it wasn't even that close. So in a race like this, every point matters, right? You can't be spreading crazy election conspiracy theories. You can't be supporting far-right crypto schizo fascists. And yeah, seems like Republicans will take the House, but that's mostly because, like, a lot of Democrats lost in New York State. So it's really more of a fault of, like, the New York Democrat Party, which is, like, very weak and has grown, like, complacent because New York was considered a Democrat stronghold. And it's not a Trump thing at all. I'm gonna go over the New York state elections at some point. And short of Republicans winning any Senate seats, they will probably lose a Senate seat. Or actually, Democrats already flipped a Senate seat in Pennsylvania. Yeah, John Fetterman's flipped that seat. The Chad, 6'9", Giga Chad. And then Raphael Warnock will probably get reelected. So anyways, Trump endorsed 5 candidates in the nation's most competitive House races, and all 5 of them lost. And then every election denier who sought to become the top election official in battleground state was defeated. So another potential challenge for Trump will be whether he can articulate precisely why he wants to be president. His team identified that as a significant reason he lost re-election. Yeah, that's funny. Well, obviously, the answer is he wants to be president because he wants power. He wants fame. He wants wealth. He wants all that shit. He doesn't actually care about the country. You think he actually cares about any of this shit? No. He just wants to be the center of attention. He wants to be the king of America. He wants to be, like, the main character of America and of the world. He wants, like, everyone to be talking about him all the time. And you know what? He got what he wanted, but that still wasn't enough. He got his 4 years, but he wants all of it. Yeah, I remember Trump would, when he was asked, like, what he would do differently or what he would do as president, yeah, he would not have an answer, really. He would just say, "Oh, we're gonna make America great again. We're gonna bring back the jobs. We're gonna all be living large. Believe me, we're gonna kick out all the illegal immigrants." So yeah, focusing on the economy and border security. Yeah, of course. economic shit is he gonna do? I guess he was like economically populist for a while. He was like bringing jobs back into America, but he barely did that really. If anything, like Biden did that pretty well, but and like border security. Oh, and of course the tax cuts, yeah, which did not help at all, very much. If anything, yeah, they are contributing to like the decline of like the American standard of living, and like making income and wealth inequality in America even worse, much worse than I mean, it was already pretty bad, but it's getting even worse now. So, and border security, of course, that's a big issue for him. It's always been the big issue. But yeah. He says, we built the wall, but we didn't finish building the wall, so we're gonna finish building the wall. The Biden allowed the wall to deteriorate and crumble, which means that the wall wasn't so great to begin with, right? Anyways, he suggested a new law allowing the death penalty for drug dealers. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go off. I mean, aren't sentences for drug dealers like already pretty harsh? Sentences in general are pretty harsh in America. It was at odds with the criminal justice overhaul bill. I'm not sure what that is. So yeah, there was a lot of good economic returns in his presidency, and low unemployment. But you know, how much credit can he really take for that? And of course, yeah, cutting taxes and regulations had a good effect on like the short-term gains of the economy, but that's sacrificing the long-term sustainability and stability of the economy. We saw like, yeah, once the COVID pandemic hit, we had to print a bunch of money because we didn't have enough money to pay for shit, and then like the deficit just like spiraled out of control. Anyways, he repeatedly downplayed the severity of a disease that killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. It's over 1 million Americans now, isn't it? And it crippled the U.S. economy. Yeah, and yeah, he did not handle COVID very well, even though he said he did. Anyways,